Indiana Jones, It's a podcast about Indiana Jones. Every movie, 1 minute at a time. Indiana Jones Minute.
Welcome back to the Indiana Jones Minute. This is the podcast where we discuss the film Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, one argument about location at a time. My name is Tom Taylor.
My name is Pete Mummert.
I'm Joe Christopher Marcus Porter.
And we are honored to be joined again by our old pal, Steve Kreuch. Welcome back, Steve.
Hello, I'm so happy to be back.
We are happy to have you here for minute 25, which obviously takes place probably in Connecticut, but who cares? This minute begins with Brody explaining to Indy the meaning of the search for the Grail, and it ends with our first Indy map showing Indy and Marcus taking off from New York.
Now, Marcus just nonchalantly drops a massive Grail knowledge bomb here. He says the search for the cup of Christ is the search for the divine in all of us. And I'm like, that pretty much nails Christianity in one sentence. At least all the good, all the good parts. None of that like we're gonna burn you at the stake stuff.
Right.
But yeah, he's awesome here. He's awesome.
Yes.
That's kind of basically what Father David said the other day.
Yeah.
They're like, you're not searching for a cup. You're searching for, what Jesus represents and everything.
Yeah, the divine in all of us. God is in every one of us. We're supposed to be constantly looking for that. It's kind of a extension of the love your neighbor. But Marcus gets it.
Yeah.
And he just throws that out in a ransacked living room.
Right.
The way he follows it up, I think, is extraordinary, because he says, if you want facts, Indy, I have none to give you, but at my age, I'm prepared to take a few things on faith.
Right.
And when he starts it by saying at my age, he's saying, well, I'm the same age as your dad. So maybe you should have some faith that, your dad's faith might be well placed.
But I also like that he's saying that you're like a young whippersnapper. Once you get to be a little bit older and you recognize the end of your life is a little bit sooner, you're going to start to, reevaluate everything.
You'll start to believe in UFOs later.
Well, so does he mean that just empiricism declines as you age? it's like the wiser you get, the less you know.
Oh, maybe.
Because he can't prove certain things, but that's what he's saying. He's saying at my age, I'll take a few things on faith.
Right.
See, I was wondering if this is like the subconscious part of Han Solo, that like when you get older, you're looking for something to believe in, and that's why when he's on the bridge of the Millennium Falcon in The Force Awakens, he says it's true. All of it.
Yeah. I think you said the bridge of the Millennium Falcon. You never hear that. That
is weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it? Is it the bridge?
It's not the bridge. It's not the cockpit. But also, you called it the bridge. That's cool. He's in engineering on the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of the bridge over the smuggling bay. So.
That's true. Yeah. He's on the over the smuggling bridge.
Yeah. But I like that it's right after Marcus says this. Indy's hand. Well, first of all, you see the envelope where you see that his dad lives in Ferndale, New York.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you see a picture underneath of Indy and his dad like a long time ago. Yeah. And it seems like it's seeing this picture where Indy's like, oh, my dad's got a picture out of me. Mm-hmm. That's when Indy decides, you know what, I'm going to go after him. Like maybe my dad actually cares about
Well,
me.
I like that they used like a picture of Sean Connery from God, who knows how long ago.
I want to say like the Great Train Robbery or something.
Or,
That's kind of what it looks like.
Or The Man Who Would Be King.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's
cool.
actually Harrison Ford.
Wait, who? Oh, the kid?
Yeah.
Is it?
I don't know.
Oh, really?
I wonder.
I was gonna say.
That'd be awesome.
We're assuming that kid next to Indy's dad is a young Indy.
That could be his sister.
I don't. Exactly. I mean, I don't.
Gladys
because if you
Jones.
look at it, that doesn't.
It's Grace Jones.
Yeah,
it's Grace Jones.
It doesn't really look like River Phoenix to me.
What if they'd used the picture of Sean Connery from Zardoz?
Oh my God! If this movie had any at all, it would use Zardoz.
Well, did anyone else actually Google map 25 Pine Road, Ferndale, New York? You did? Yeah. And what does it come up with?
The TARDIS.
No, it didn't come up with any road in that town, but there is a Ferndale, New York.
Oh, there is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I'd read there wasn't.
No, there is.
No, there is. It's halfway between Scranton and Poughkeepsie.
Yep.
But there is a 25.
So it's the middle of nowhere.
There's a 25 Pine Street, Ferndale, UK.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of this stuff in here seems to just be kind of like, oh, let's take the name of this house where we filmed in London. Let's take the name of this. Yeah.
Nice imagination, guys.
Well, the important thing is 25 Pine Road, Ferndale doesn't exist. Put it into Google Maps.
It's like it's a movie.
Yeah.
It's like a made-up story time.
Do you think his dad looks like he's about to start a brawl in this picture? Like, don't they look like they're from gangs in New York and they're like these tough kind of brawler guys?
He does.
Which doesn't remind me at all of his dad in this movie.
No, it doesn't actually.
Like even when you see his dad wearing the cardigan, like at his dad's house, it's hard to imagine that's the guy you're looking at.
Well, that's why I think it's the Great Train Robbery, because he looks sort of like a gentleman thief, rascal, scoundrel guy.
So do you think he had kind of, like Marcus talks about in the last movie that he would have gone after the Ark if he'd been younger? Do you think Marcus and Henry Sr. ever actually had adventures? Or do you think this is the first adventure that both of them have
I don't
ever
think
had?
so, because they already talked about how his father was a bookworm.
Yeah.
He wasn't a field guy.
So you think that's true? You don't think that's just Indy?
No, and I think
projecting that.
I think it's more of like Marcus was kind of like the wheeler dealer who set up things between the museum, and he was kind of like the money middleman.
Yeah.
Now wait a minute, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this officially. Mm-hmm. They set up, Marcus says in Raiders, 5 years ago I would have gone after the Ark myself. Mm-hmm. And I believe him. And I think Marcus is a field worm.
All right.
I do. I'm sticking with it. And let me just say, he says, Indy says, call Donovan and tell him I'll take that ticket to Venice, Italy. And Marcus says, I'll tell him we'll take 2. And I'm thrilled. I'm on pins and needles because and this is very, very exciting. We're on the brink. We're finally going to see Marcus in action. Look, he's smart. He's sexy. He's dropping Grail knowledge bombs everywhere. He's a field worm. Yes. Well, what could possibly go wrong? This is like a dream come true. We've wondered this since we saw Marcus in Indy's classroom in Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Well, I also like that, they haven't really planned this out, because Marcus is kind of like, where the hell are we staying?
Right.
Well,
yeah.
It's kind of like the first sign of his doddering, I gotta say.
It is the first, like I've been keeping a Marcus check, checking it out, seeing how he's doing. At the house, he's rock solid.
Totally.
And
solid.
I don't want to dock points at the airport, but it is the first time you're like, keep it together, Marcus. It's going to be all right. You don't go to pieces.
See, I like this because this isn't over the top. This is somebody who's got a mild anxiety disorder. And because I love to travel, I love going, and I've been to some pretty weird places. But I'm like, oh, we got to go here, and then we make plans and we make the the reservation, everything. And then when the trip's about to start, I become just like Marcus, and I get super anxious. I'm like, wait, do we have really a safe place to stay, or how are we going to get to this place? And I get just like this, and I love this. He's kind of an old guy, and he's kind of nervous. He's like, so where are we going to stay, and how are we going to get around? And
he's a curator of a museum, so he wants things buttoned down and figured out. And, wait, you don't have the seating arrangements done yet for the thing? Come on, we gotta.
Yeah, and he's not cartoony. He's not like a crazy character here. He's a little. I think it's good, but on the other hand, Venice is not a very threatening destination.
That's true.
Hey, listen. I am not at all buying any of this. None of it. Look, you're going to tell me Marcus has never been to Venice? Oh my God, Marcus needs to know where he's staying.
No. He's asking, because they say, let's call Donovan. Donovan. Donovan gets him a plane. And they don't know the rest of their plans. They don't know. Donovan has organized it, so he's asking, but he's, there wasn't any forethought into it. He's just about to get on the plane, and he's finally turning around to go, hey, wait a minute. Where the hell are we staying?
Sure. It is a little whirlwind, but Marcus is capable in all aspects. That's why I took him as my confirmation name. And what he says, and I've watched this scene many times, because what he says is, I'll tell him we'll take 2.
Yeah.
Right. He doesn't go like, do you need company, Indy? Do you think I should go, or should I mind should I mind Ferndale, New York?
Right. No, but that's before it sinks in that he's actually going. Like you can be in the moment. You can be like, yeah, I'll take 2, and then like when he's at the airport, he's like, oh, wait a minute, I'm getting on this plane. I don't know where I'm staying. I don't know anything about this trip. This might be a little scary.
You should be pissed at Indy when Indy's just like, hey, doll, call up Donovan and tell him we'll take those tickets, and Marcus should be like, hey, I'm not your butler. I haven't been a butler since Trading Places. Yeah, you call him.
But that's right. You're right.
Put us on a plane, 23 Skidoo.
Yeah.
See, I think Marcus. I mean, look, you wouldn't be a curator or a dealer in antiquities or any of the things that Marcus is, without traveling all over the world.
We're not saying he hasn't traveled.
No, we're not saying that
at all. We're saying
that
this trip is very scattershot and sudden and weird.
Right.
It's also, he is going to fascist Italy.
It went from a watch to a warning.
The
Marcus watch. Yeah,
no,
the Marcus
I don't think
watch.
It's quite a warning
yet.
No.
I think we're still at a watch.
The needle might have jiggled, but it's not. It hasn't gone to be yellow or anything.
Okay. All right.
There's certainly no like sirens blowing or anything.
All I can say is in Indy's dad's living room, I'm like, God, I love Marcus. This is a great scene.
Yeah.
He's dropping knowledge bombs. I'm glad he's with Indy. This is great. I'm excited because he's gonna pack his bags and we're gonna go.
Yeah.
We're gonna go see Marcus in action.
But see, I like the idea that Marcus never actually did have adventures. He just likes to pretend to be the guy that would have adventures. And now he's suddenly confronted, like maybe now he's really going to have one. And he's like, oh, wait a minute. This isn't exactly what I was expecting.
Well, also that this is something that like he's never gone. To me, I read it as he's the guy who never went on an adventure, but he's willing to do it to save his old friend.
Yeah.
Like he is willing to like get out from behind academia and actually get out there in the world and go save someone who he's known his whole life and cares about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But for any of these people who are mildly well-traveled, you're like, you know what? I'm going to land in Italy, and then I'm going to find a hotel.
But not many people were well-traveled in the 30s.
Yeah.
I mean, people weren't well-traveled until jets were common in the 60s, when air travel by jet was really came into its own, and that's when jet setting became a whole thing, and the Boeing 747 with the cocktail lounge. But up until that point, travel was uncomfortable, really expensive, and not very easy to do. So not a lot of people did it.
Well, it's also possible, like, if you were going to Europe, like, if he'd been to Europe before, he probably took a nice, comfortable ocean liner. And now he's looking at this little DC-3, and he's like, I'm not sure. I mean, has he ever flown in a plane before?
That's possible.
Yes, he's flown in a plane before. I look, in my head canon,
well, there's your problem.
The only
he's been reading the online wiki, the Indiana Jones wiki.
The only difficult
the Indiana headcanon.
The only difficult question here for Marcus is which of my 20 friends am I going to stay with in Venice, Italy?
But see, that is something you've read into Marcus, and we've all read something into Marcus, but that's not necessarily something that's been there.
Right. It's the Boba Fett effect.
Todd Louise here.
I like that he might have been a more complex character than we've imagined.
Right.
Complex?
Yeah.
Yeah, complex.
He presents this image of himself, and he likes to believe this image of himself that maybe isn't quite reality.
So I think it is reality, as long as he's, in his element and stuff, and he's about to be not quite in his element.
Right. He's good at dealing with museum officials and selling all that stuff. He would totally
making
be
deals
at
at cocktail parties. Yeah.
Yeah. But you get him out he's like Henry Sr. He's not a field man.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like if you're at a cocktail party and you're talking to someone and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to go climb Mount Everest next week," and you're like, "Oh man, I would have done that totally if I were like 10 years younger."
Yeah,
but I mean, you didn't do that when you were 10 years younger,
Right.
so you probably wouldn't have. But yeah, it's easy to say in the moment.
Yeah,
right.
Look, all I can say is I saw Raiders of the Lost Ark. Then I chose my confirmation name to be Marcus. And then this business came out
You chose
later.
well, Gerry. You can't backpedal. You're still Marcus.
No one's saying that you chose poorly.
I mean, I'm not confirmed after a Doddard.
No.
No.
You still haven't seen Trading Places, have you? You need to see Trading Places, Gerry.
And even if whether Marcus has traveled to Italy before or not, I like this Marcus. Like, I like that he's a little bit anxious. I'm not. I don't know if I'm going to like what he's going to become, but I think I still really like who this guy is right now.
There are a lot of departures in this movie from his just very straight, intelligent, cool demeanor that we got from Raiders. There are departures from that are awesome, that are great. Mm-hmm. They're like, little extensions of his personality and stuff that are really cool. And there's some that are disastrous, but I think it's we'll keep an eye on it.
It's the Boba Fett effect.
Yeah,
like we saw Boba Fett for a few seconds, in a movie in Empire Strikes Back, and we build this entire backstory in our minds.
And that's the way we liked it.
Yeah, and then when they start showing stuff that's not what we were expecting, it's like, wait a minute.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
So but they never showed. It's because we built this all up in our minds, and you think about this all these years, but it's never actually in the text.
Okay, Boba Fett's a Taurus. He walks on the beach and he likes Italian food.
Yeah.
No, look.
No, he likes flambe from his flamethrower wrist.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I'm just going on what they gave me. I'm just saying I believed Marcus when he said he would have gone 5 years ago, and I believe him now when he says I'll tell him we'll take 2 tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all.
He is going. He's getting on the plane.
He's
all right.
there,
all right. Well, we'll just,
but he also says we'll take 2 tickets, and then the very next thing he's saying, where are we staying?
I only got plane tickets, not hotel reservations or anything.
Yeah, I didn't see that option on the website for hotel and plane.
Yeah.
Do you think Donovan was pissed that he wanted to go? Is he like, oh God, why does this guy want to go? What's going on? What's going to happen now? This kind of throws a wrench.
What am I, rich?
Plans.
Oh wait, I'm rich.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I do think he's upset that Marcus is going. I don't think he planned on that.
Do you think his comment? Because I'm wondering what his comment at the end of this minute means when he says, "Don't trust anybody." Is he talking about Marcus, or why does he tell Indy that?
I think because I've been racking my brain to think about examples of this. I just know that there are a bunch of them. I can't think of any of them. But the guy who tells the hero not to trust anybody is usually the one who turns out to be the bad guy.
True.
Like, don't trust. I'm looking you in the eye and telling you not to trust anybody, and it's me.
But I also think he knows that Allison Duty is
Duty.
He has his suspicions about her because Indy's father was with her when he disappeared. So,
okay.
So she is your contact, but don't trust her.
Oh, interesting.
Well, wait a minute. I have to watch the rest of the movie. But I mean, doesn't Donovan know that he kidnapped Indy's dad?
Yeah.
I mean, so why would he tell don't trust Schneider?
Because
he's not actually warning him. He's being sort of crafty and fun because he knows that he can't trust anybody. So don't trust anybody, including me, including Allison Duty.
Well, and maybe the other guys that he meets in Venice and gets in the chase with. So,
I feel like it's a little bit like that, the Grail painting from Last Minute, where it's like, oh, this is literal. Like that night painting that and said, this is how it is when you get to the Holy Grail. Yeah. It's like Donovan saying, and don't trust anybody.
Right.
Yeah. Well, here's a question. Speaking of literal, was it only in the is this making fun of the 1930s when they're expecting, well, obviously Dr. Schneider is a man, or does this also surprise people in the 1980s?
I think since All in the Family and all their episodes about this exact thing, people aren't surprised anymore. The doctor was his mother.
So you think at this point, like they're winking at the audience, like, see, we're not like this anymore?
I don't think the audience even has a chance to think. Like, there's the line like later on. Like, I don't think they use like a male or female pronoun with Schneider at all, except the second before you meet her. So like, I don't think the audience has a chance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, do you think the audience though is assuming that it's that the Dr. Schneider?
Well, that's what I'm curious because I wonder if this is another one of their little fake outs.
None of their fake outs have been solid at all.
No,
like, none of them have done anything.
Yeah, they've all been terrible.
Yeah. So it probably is then. Yeah, it is one of their fake outs.
They kind of present it like Indy and Marcus are faked out. So I'm just curious.
No, yeah, they definitely do. But I don't think the audience even has a chance to like think about it. Although if you said, yeah, they're going to meet somebody named Dr. Schneider, paint a picture of them. they might paint a picture.
It's going to be like a chubby guy with a long mustache, or like
yeah,
named
Duty.
Duty. So I do actually appreciate that in our first map that we see it doing the actual Great Circle, which I don't know if they did back then.
They didn't because the DC-3 couldn't fly that far.
Right.
Oh yeah, that's funny.
I love that they fly over the Grand Banks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like one of the big things they show you, Grand Banks.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of a fortune and glory thing.
Yeah.
Not just any banks.
They gotta be grand.
Yeah. They're good banks, Marcus.
The best.
Do you think he's thinking about the Titanic when they fly over Newfoundland?
Oh. They see a frozen ice cube that's Jack.
Yeah.
You could have fit on the raft.
Everybody knows it.
Mythbusters proved it.
Murderer. Well, is that it for 25?
I'm sure that's it.
Yeah.
No, I can't imagine anybody would have anything else.
The four of us have said everything we have to say, so we'll just say goodnight.
Wait a minute. We would be lonely.
Gerry,
we would be lonely. Unless this just in from Professor Christy Porter, minute 25. We have an Arcus. It's where Marcus is using his arc voice.
That's true. That's totally
right.
true.
Yes. It's not to be taken lightly.
Yeah. No, he's playing that exact same role right here. Like,
exactly. We have a true Arcus.
Here's the significance that a goon like you doesn't understand, Indy.
Yeah. But God, it's so beautiful.
I don't want to start any conspiracies here, like any conspiracy theories. But I love how much what Christy often telegraphs in confirms an argument that Gerry was making during the show.
What, did we have an Arcus? Well, no, it's just a beautiful scene. We got Marcus again doing what Marcus does best.
Yeah.
And I'll read that line. The search for the cup of Christ. First of all, he calls it the cup of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He doesn't call it the Holy Grail or the chalice of eternal life. He calls it the cup of Christ. Is the search for the divine in all of us. I mean, it's his best moment.
It just sounds to me like it's something you'd order at like a Christian coffee shop. Yeah, can I get a cup of Christ and a cruller to go?
On that note, hey Steve, thank you for joining us for these nice episodes.
Thank you for having me.
This has been a great deal of fun.
I always appreciate talking to you guys. It's
So do
always
we.
a joy.
Yeah.
I'm glad you think so. It's nice. Everybody out there, I want you to... Oh, you know what? This is Friday. So you're probably thinking, I gotta wait until Monday to hear more of the show. But there's a good chance that if you join us over at patreon.com/Indiana Jones Minute, throw some bucks our way, support the show. You can not only get letters from us and stickers from us, but you will also get episodes of our bonus show, Anything Goes, where we've been covering other films such as Jaws, Close Encounters, some Indiana Jones comic books, E.T. Oh my God, who even knows what we've done since then? Again, I'm living in the past, so I don't even know. But it sounds great. I want to join. Wait, I did. I work there. But join us over there. Help support the show. Patreon.com/Indiana Jones Minute. And please meet us all back here on Monday for minute 26 of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade here on the Indiana Jones Minute.
It's a watch to a warning. okay?
Not quite.